Hi guys, so in a recent video I asked you to send me some of your tracks for me to have a listen to, offer your feedback on YouTube, so I'm going to do that today. I have had quite a lot of actual tracks sent in, so I'm going to split the videos up, and rest assured every single person that has sent me a track, I will get back to you. If I don't use it in a video, I will send you a reply to your email, and I'll give you feedback on every single track that's got sent in. So if your track is not played in today's video, rest assured it'll either be another video, or like I said, I'll send you an email back just giving you feedback on the tracks. So I've got 5 tracks today, and so the first track, basically what I'm going to do, I'll listen to the track on the video, and then I'll give you some feedback on it. So the first track we've got today is from Zane Alexander. So I'll just play through it and then I will give feedback. Okay, so the way I'm gonna work the feedback is I'm gonna try to keep it as consistent as possible, and I'm gonna split the feedback into 5 different categories. So I'm gonna split it into melodies and writing abilities of the track, structure of the track, transitions of the track, mixing, and then the mastering. Mixing and mastering would be very, very similar. So melodies, some great melodies in there. Love all the sounds. I love the sort of Commodore 64 sounds. I think that's great. They're great in there. The vocals work really well. I would just say the vocals are a little bit low in the mix, so I would maybe bring them up. And there's a lot of reverb, I think, on the vocals, so I would turn that down a little bit and maybe add a delay. Maybe, if you've I can tell there's auto-tune on the vocals, and at some points the auto-tune's not working too well. And a lot of people that don't feel very strong at singing will tend to add a lot of reverb to it. So I would maybe go back, and I would maybe, if you're singing the vocals, I would maybe record like 10 attempts, and I would pick the best ones, and I would layer them over the top. That's called, so what you're basically doing is you're doubling your vocals, and it makes them a lot stronger. So I'll maybe go for 3, record 10, pick your best 3, auto-tune them, and then layer them over the top of each other. And then bring the reverb down in the mix on the vocals, because it does get a little bit wishy-washy at times. Structure's spot on. You're building up. You're adding elements in as you're going along. There isn't a lot of elements. There isn't parts of the track where there's more than one element kicking in at a time, which can sometimes confuse listeners. I would say though the transitions, especially when this bass kicks in at the start, there's no transitions. And there's no transitions throughout the track, really. So what I would say, especially here when it dropped back in, I would maybe use some sort of reverse cymbal effect, or even a little drum fill, or even a big snare hit, a little bit of effects, just to let the listener know that something's coming. Something's coming up. So rather than just leaving little gaps, make sure you're adding stuff in. The mixing is spot on. There's nothing sticking out. The only thing I would say is the Commodore 64 like bass sound, or the one that starts coming up, I'd say it is a little dry. So maybe look at adding something to that, just so it's not as dry. A little tiny bit of stereo delay, something like that. Or sorry, panning delay, something like that. And again, mastering, you can't really tell from mastering over SoundCloud, because once you upload a track to SoundCloud, it compresses it itself, and it does stuff to it. So mastering, I can't really comment on mastering, but the mixing sounds pretty good. And mastering is only something that you add after mixing. So if the mix is good, 9 times out of 10 the master would be pretty good as well. So that's about it for this track. So I said it's a nice overall track, some great melodies, very sort of laid back feeling. Like I said, what we'll work on is your transitions and the bass sound when it kicks in. When you saw bass kicks in here, I would make sure that you, like I said, get the transitions in so that people know something's coming up. So the next track I'm going to move on to is from Panhandle Gear Demo. I've already listened to this and I've left a comment already. I just put, "Hi mate, nice track. Like the pitch effects on the synth, gives it a real 80s feel." But I will go through it again. Play it again. This is also his daughter, Hanky said in the email as well. So he's obviously made the video out to be really retro looking there. Just to let people know, he said it's not a complete song, so he's open to any sort of criticism. So I'll play through it and then I'll give some feedback after again. Okay, so again, I'll run through the same 5 points as the previous track. So it's a very laid back mixed, very sort of chilled out, 80s feel to it there. One of the things that I will say that I did like about the track is the pitch effects that he's using to make it sound, really, really retro. So what he's got the sort of track, the pitch moving slightly. So where you would hear that would be, for example, old records or especially old cassettes. Especially if the batteries would be dying in the cassettes, the tapes are not running at the correct speed, so therefore the pitch would fluctuate up and down, sort of stuff like that. So it's got a very retro feel to it. So melodies, some of the melodies are really, really good in there. There is a melody that kicks in at about 120. It's like a higher melody, and it's like it's stepping down. There's two melodies play together, and I think they clash a little bit. One's like a high belly sound. I would definitely go back and look at those. I would maybe look at mixing them two together into one melody, and I would maybe look at changing the sound. I would go for maybe something a little less, maybe even another sort of guitar sound or something a little more synthy, rather than what you've currently got, and maybe add a bit of reverb and stuff to that. So structure of the track. It's only a 2-minute demo, so it's very difficult to sort of look at structure of the track. But from what I've got, you've got the elements in there. You've got the slow start, the build up, and then it kicks into the main part of the track. Transitions again. What I would say is there's no transitions in the track. There is some tom fills in there, but you need a little bit more. So you need some crashes and reverse crashes and stuff like that in there, so the listener knows what's coming up. Listener knows that something's changing, something's coming up, so that they can hear about it in the track. And again, mixing. I can't really comment about mixing because it's only a demo. I would say most of the sounds fit really well. The only thing I would say is the guitar at the start, like the acoustic guitar, is very quiet in the mix and it's very dry. So bring that up in volume, make sure you cut the low end off it, and I would add a bit of reverb and a bit of delay to it. Make sure that's prominent in your track as well, because it is very minimal. So you can't really have quiet sounds and then louder sounds, because it stands out so much, especially when you're making sort of chilled out tracks. You need to make sure all the sounds fit in really well and they work well together. And then again, can't comment on mastering it because it's obviously a demo. And again, it's on YouTube, so the quality, again, when YouTube adds its own compressors, you can't really tell. Okay, so now we'll move on to another track. Let's have a look. So we've got one here from Richard Murch. This is called On the Hill. This is not synthwave. I think this is actually EDM. So what we'll do is we'll have a listen to this, fly through it, and then we'll give you some feedback on that as well. Okay, so a little bit different to the synthwave stuff that we've been listening to. But again, I'll run through. I'll treat it the same way. So melodies, some great melodies in there. I really like the melodies of the riff. I think the harp sounds really good in there. The sort of harp you've got. Transitions again. There is some transitions in there, but especially when the piano kicks in and whatnot, I would add some reverse crashes in there, some reverse effects in there as well. The structure is spot on. So you've got your DJ intro, you've got your breakdown, and then you drop, and then back into your breakdown, and then you drop, and then your outro again. So no real issues with that. Mixing though, there is a few things I would say about mixing. So when the track starts here, you've got this kind of sort of kick, and it sounds very floppy. What you really need that kick there, you just need the high ends of the kick, so your transients of your kick aren't coming through. Now there is a transient designer that in a transient processor that you get with FL Studio, or the transient designer from SLP will help with that. What I would actually do is I would go and find another kick that has a really nice top end, a really nice click at the top of it. Then I would cut all the bottom of it out. I would cut it from about 200, 250 right down, and then I will put that in. So you're just hearing the kick. You're not hearing no bass of the kick. You're just hearing the click of the kick, and I would add that in right across. The kick in general is lacking transients as well, especially when it kicks in. What's actually happening is your kick and your bass are working against each other, because the kick and the bass are occupying a lot of the same frequencies. And when they're playing together, they're playing really loud and they're playing really distorted. So what I will do I can hear there is a sidechain in there, but it's not enough. So your bass, you need to split your bass into two. So you need a low sub bass, and you need a sort of higher sort of saw bass, or something a little bit higher with the low end of it cut out. What you would then do is you would sidechain the sub part of it like crazy, like really, really sidechain it, because that's what's working with the kick. That's what's fighting with the kick. So let the kick hit, and when the kick hits, the sub wants to be totally off. And then as the kick goes down in volume, the sub wants to come up. And that will give you a nice overall sort of bass sound, low end sound. And then your bass, or your higher bass, or your saw bass, whatever, that you can have less sidechain on that, because it's not going to interfere with the sub of the track, because you've cutting all that out. So that's one thing I would say. Like I said, I like the harp. The piano is very dry as well, especially when it kicks in here. It's very dry. So you need to bring it down in the mix, reverb, delay, get all that good stuff in there. And again, transitions, get your crashes in there, your reverse crashes, your effects, so that people know this piano is going to start before it comes in. So your FX as well, your sort of big build up. There, sidechain it more, bring it down in the mix, cut the low end off of it as well. That's one other thing that I would say as well. So that's what I say with the mixing. The mastering, again, because the mixing, there's some issues with the mixing. You're not really hearing the sort of master side of things. So I'll definitely go back and look at that kick and stuff again. You need, I would even layer this track with another kick, just the high end of the kick. Find a really nice high end kick, and then I will definitely layer it with there. If you want to look into kicks, there is a kick synth out there for EDM. It's Sonic Academy's Kick and Kick 2, and they split the kicks up, so the sub part and the click of the kick, so you can take the click and stuff like that off the tracks. That's what I would suggest for that track. Again, it's a bit different from synthwave, but I listen to all types of music. So next we're going to move on to a track from, I think it's Nikita. He's actually sent two in. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 5, 6, 3. And he's just basically asking for advice on these tracks. Now, straight away you can tell they're not mastered, because you expect sort of something looking like this really for a mastered track. But we'll certainly play through the first one, and we'll get a bit of feedback going, and then we'll move on to the second one. Okay, so some nice melodies in there again. Quite a lot of melodies in there. Um, and what I'm hearing in the track is I'm hearing quite a few melodies that are just playing by themselves. Really, what you need to do is if you've got like I think there's 5 or 6 different melodies in there that just play by themselves. I would maybe take some of those out. I'd maybe take 2 of those out and move them to a different track, and I'll get the melodies then. You know, your 2 or 3 melodies that you've got to work together, so that you can play them over the top of each other, or so they can interact. Because what you've got is you've got your bass playing with your harp, and then you've got a melody coming in, and then it drops down. Then you've got a different melody coming in, and then a different melody coming in, and then there's quite a lot of melody. It sounds like 5, maybe 3 or 4 songs stuck together. So definitely check out a couple of the melodies, split this into 2 tracks, move some of the melodies to another track, maybe change the key of the track, so obviously it's not in the same key, and then I would work on that track separate. But for this track, I would take out 2 or 3 of those melodies. At the start of the track as well, you've got this panning bass. It's very, very dry, it's playing by itself. I wouldn't have your bass panning, I would keep your bass mono as possible, especially the low end of the bass. It's alright with the high end of the bass, maybe adding a bit of width to it, but certainly the low end of the bass, don't have your bass or your kick moving from side to side. Keep it in the centre. What I would do though is, like this drop here, when the bass starts, when it drops into the bass, you've got your harp playing, and over here you've got your bass and then your harp. I would definitely have the harp and bass playing together from the start of this track, and that's how I would work up into this track. And the kick as well is a little dry in the mix, because you're going for kind of like a really slow, sort of chilled out vaporwave sort of feel to this track. Your snare's okay, but the kick is very dry, so the kick hits and then just stops straight away, and you've got to wait quite a while for the snare to hit, and when your snare hits there's quite a long tail on that. So with the kick I would definitely add a bit of reverb to the kick. I would also add some hats and extra percussion in there, hats, shakers. I know you've got some claps in towards the end, but I would work on bringing the volume of them claps down again, and maybe even have them throughout the track. So definitely get some extra percussion in there, because it's very dry and it's moving very slowly as you're going along. Get some get some hats in there, some shakers in there, anything like that will help improve the track. Again, there's no transitions, so I know it's kind of like a chilled out track, but you still need some transitions in there. So maybe go some reverse vocal effects, or little snare fills, little drum fills, reverse syllables. I use on all my tracks. It doesn't matter what genre I'm making, whether I'm making EDM, synthwave, bass, anything. Always reverse cymbals there on all tracks. It just helps the listener know that something else is coming in. The drums as well, I'd say, are too loud, or maybe the synths need brought up a little bit more, because again it's quite a bare track, so you've got that room to be able to make sure you're getting all your synths and stuff at really high volume. So the drums are a little high, so maybe bring the drums down, or bring the rest of the track up to match the sort of volume of the drums. There is a nice guitar that comes in there as well, around about here, but again it's the same thing. You need to make sure that you don't have too many melodies in there. The harp as well, I like, not the harp, the riff. There's a riff that comes in and it changes. I like the change, but again there's nothing telling me that's changing. So I'm listening to the start of the riff and it's just the same notes playing, and all of a sudden out of nowhere, bang, it just changes. I like the change, love the change, definitely keep the change in, but make sure you maybe dropping drums out, adding a couple of extra snare hits in there, just to let the listener know that something's going to come up, something's changing. And I think one of the themes as well that I've noticed in all these tracks so far is definitely transitions as well. So definitely have to look at that in another video as well. So melodies, some great melodies in there. Not a lot of transitions in there. The structure is okay, but again, if too many melodies, get some of the melodies out, and the structure will fit into place. Mixing, again, I've gone through some of the mixing there. The drums and stuff about adding reverb and whatnot. And again, because it's a demo, there's no master to sort of comment on. So that's that track. So I'll move on to the next track now, which is this one here, 563. Okay, so a very, very similar thing with this track that you had in the last track. You've got a lot of melodies in there, maybe too many. I'll definitely look at bringing them out. So out of these two tracks here, I would say you could probably split this into 4 separate tracks. And you'll have 4 good tracks. Just like I said, there's some good melodies in there. The sort of plucky hit that you've got at the start, I'm not sure if it works when you go really, really high. I would maybe look at taking that out. And I would look at what I do like about it as well. You brought it back in towards the end of the track, which is very, very good. Love the ARP sound that you've got that starts at the start. But I would say that it's very centered and very dry. So you can a couple of ways they can get that to sound wider. You can add like a stereo widener to it. I wouldn't go down that route. You can add a chorus sort of effect to it. I probably wouldn't go down that route either. What I will probably do is keep it where it is, wide reverb on it, and panning delay. So if you want to add just with FL Studio, for example, if you load up the delay and then you load up your presets and you go to stereo effect, that will then make it go ping pong. It will make it go wider, and it will make the melody. It will make the ARP sound a lot wider than what it actually is. But it's a very, very nice sound. Now there is a melody that comes in at 55 seconds. I'm not sure if it works well with this track. I would probably take that melody out and build another track out of that melody as well. Again, you've actually got a transition that actually comes in here, like a reverse crash sound. You should just keep that going throughout the track. Just copy it and move it around. So every time something changes or something new's coming in, stick that reverse sort of sound in there, so people sort of know. And here, you change the kick pattern slightly to 2 kicks together. I was really, when I heard that, I was really thinking it was going to change to 4x4. So a kick on every beat. I really think that would work well here. I'll maybe have a look at that. Just 1 kick, bum, 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 like 4 on the floor. 145, there's a melody comes in. It's a lovely sound, but again, it's very dry, and it's sort of standing out. So I'll definitely bring it back in the mix. And it comes out of nowhere. So get your transients in there, get your fills in there, and stuff like that, just so people know something new's coming in. And then there is another melody that comes in at about 2 minutes. That's way, way too loud in the mix. It's way too loud, so definitely look at bringing that down. Now you do have some percussion in towards the end of the track, but it gets too loud, and there's not enough of it. So bring it down in volume, delay on there, maybe some reverb on there, and add a few more notes in just to make it sound that, because you've got a very, very slow track. So you're waiting for stuff to, because it's so slow, you're waiting for stuff to come in. So you need to make sure that it's constantly, full up. You've constantly got the listener listening out for something, and it's not just really playing and just sort of bobbing along. So melodies, great melodies, decent structure, but again, get rid of some of the extra melodies you've got in there. You've got some transactions in there. We need to get that changed. Sorry, transitions in there. You need to get them right throughout the track. And mixing wise, I've given you a couple of tips on how to sort of improve your mixing. The kick does sound a lot better in this one. Maybe it's a little too loud. You can maybe look at bringing that down slightly. But apart from that, that's the track more or less done. So now I'm going to move on to the final track today. This is from Alec A. He just sent me this rough demo, and he said he's not too happy with the bass pad and the leads in the track, so he's looking at getting those replaced. So I'll have a play through and see what we think. Okay, so melodies again, some nice melodies in there. I've noticed like every track that I've been sent or listened to so far has some great melodies in there, and it's the other sort of stuff, the little stuff that you need to work on. Writing the melodies is one of the hardest parts. The other stuff you can learn. You can't learn how to write you can't really learn how to write melodies. And again, some nice melodies in there. Structure seems okay as well. Again, common theme with today's tracks is transitions. There's no real transitions into the track. So what I'll do is I'll go through some of the things that sort of stand out. So at the start here, you have a wow wow sort of wow pad, like a wow sound, but you've also got the strings, some sort of string pad. Then it just stops, and then you've got the string pad coming back in here. But then it plays like it goes up higher. It plays like a different melody. I would maybe start without the sort of strings here, and bring the strings in here, playing this melody maybe twice, and then go into the higher melody before you kick into the drop part of it. Definitely don't have it playing here by itself. Keep the wow wow going by itself. I like the bass. I think the notes, especially here, the little note changes are pretty good, and I like the ARP sort of sound that you've got going as well. But the drums are very dry and central. I will definitely look at getting those sort of panned out a bit. So bring them down in the mix. They're a little loud. The snare is very, very central. So maybe look at layering that. Get reverb on it, like reverb on it, and get it nice and wide. Get the shakers and the hi-hats. Get them panning. Get them to do a bit of work for you. Bring them down as well. Just get more reverb on the drums. Overall, and it'll make it sit nicer in the track, because at the moment they just sat right on top, and they're very, very dry. So you got a nice drop, a nice bass change. Sorry, at about 50 seconds the bass changes. That's a nice touch to the track. Let people know it's coming. Get some reverse cymbals in there, some snare fills or tom fills. Anything like that really, just to change so people know something's coming. Even drop the drums out and double up on your snare or something, just so people know there's a little change coming in the track, rather than just hitting them sort of out of the blue. And so you got a nice melody at 120 as well that comes in. Let me just play that again. And this is very dry and central, so this needs to be wider. So get this wide reverb or chorus, or even a stereo widener on that riff. Get that nice and wide, and really out wide, because all the rest of the synths are sort of sat central. So you need something to fill the sides of the track out as well. The track does have a very mono feel to it. So even panning certain things left and right, like pan your hat slightly left or slightly right, or have them sort of alternating. Even the pads and stuff, get them panned really wide as well, just so it fills out the full track. And here, you got the bass, and then the bass changes. When this bass changes, I'll maybe start to bring some of these elements in. So when the bass changes, I'll maybe bring the drums in, or just the snare, or the hats, or anything like that, just so that when it kicks in, you're not playing 1,000 things at once. You've already got certain things playing as it's sort of building up. So melodies, nice structure to a track. Again, it's only a short track, so you need to obviously fill it out a bit more. Again, doubling this up here, and then obviously going back into sort of something like this over here would fill the track out a bit more. And transitions, get some more transitions in there. Mixing, I've given a few tips on mixing there, what I think's too loud and what's too quiet. And then again, because it's not mastered, I can't really comment on the mastering side of things. But thanks very much. I think it's Nikita, if I'm not butchering your name there, for sending your tracks in. So anybody else that sent tracks in, I'll certainly get listening to them and get some more of these videos made. I've got quite a few tracks. I must have another 2 or 3 videos worth of tracks to sort of go through. But I'll definitely go through all those. And like I said, I'll definitely send an email back to you and let you know, giving the feedback in your email as well. Now, if you want to send your tracks in for me to have a listen to, you can do it. I'll leave the email address below and on screen now. You can send your tracks in. Don't matter what genre it is. You can let me know as well if it's okay to use on stream. If you don't want to use on stream, just let me know in the email. Just start your email feedback, and then if you want to drop your social media links in as well, I will certainly plug them for you in the description below. So if you look in the description below, I will also include any social media links or any SoundCloud links or anything like that that these guys have sent me along with the tracks to demo. So that about sums up for this video. Thanks for watching.